How Iran became a fortress. In the heart of the Middle East lies one of the most strategically placed nations on Earth. Iran sits beside the Strait of Hormuz. It's a narrow waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes daily. One missile, one blockade, one drone strike, and global oil prices could erupt overnight. But this isn't a new story. For centuries, foreign powers have tried to conquer this land and failed. From Alexander the Great to the Mongols, Iran has always been a prize worth bleeding for. And over time, the Iranian people learned a harsh truth: survival requires strength. Today, Iran has one of the most fortified military networks in the region. Its mountains hide underground bases. Its skies are laced with anti-air systems. And beneath the surface, Iran has built a web of tunnels, bunkers, and weapons stockpiles. The West often paints Iran as isolated. But isolated doesn't mean weak. In fact, that isolation has shaped a siege mentality and a mastery of asymmetrical warfare. Iran doesn't need to win a conventional war. It only needs to raise the cost high enough to deter one. The Revolutionary Guard commands land, sea, air, and even cyber operations. They've mastered fast-tack naval tactics, using small boats to swarm massive U.S. carriers. Their missile program is vast. Hundreds of ballistic missiles are ready to launch at a moment's notice. Some can reach Israel. Others can strike deep into Saudi Arabia or American bases in the Gulf. Iran's drones have become infamous: cheap, deadly, and nearly impossible to intercept in swarms. Just ask Ukraine. Some of the drones used by Russia were designed in Iran. But it's not just machines. Iran has another weapon: alliances. The axis of resistance, including Hezbollah militias in Iraq and the Houthis in Yemen, all trace support back to Tehran. These groups don't wear Iranian flags, but they serve Iranian interests. It's warfare by proxy, and it works. Every time the West considers a strike, they have to factor in attacks from a dozen fronts. Iran knows it can't outgun NATO, but it can outbleed them. Even a limited conflict could close the Strait of Hormuz, instantly paralyzing the global economy. The last time tensions escalated, oil jumped from $60 to over $80 in days. Imagine what a real war would do? The world's supply chains, already strained, would snap. Gas prices would skyrocket. Inflation would surge. Entire nations would feel the shockwaves. And Iran knows this. It's their shield, their deterrent, their fortress. But how did Iran become so hardened? It began in 1953, when a U.S. and British-backed coup overthrew Iran's elected prime minister. That wound never healed. It planted the seed of distrust that still shapes Iranian policy. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution erupted, overthrowing the Shah and ending Western control. Soon after, America became the Great Satan, and Iran became the West's most defiant rival. The Iran-Iraq War tested the new regime, a brutal 8-year conflict that killed nearly 1 million people. Iran was outgunned. Saddam Hussein had Western support, but Iran didn't break. It adapted. It built networks. It learned to fight with less and make every loss cost more. That war forged the mindset of today's Iran: paranoid, prepared, and proud. Then came sanctions, isolation, assassinations of scientists, cyber attacks, more proxy wars. Every attack, every pressure made Iran dig deeper literally and politically. By the 2000s, Iran had fully embraced the logic of resistance. They couldn't match U.S. air power, but they didn't need to. Instead, they turned to guerrilla warfare, cyber-sabotage, and regional influence. And every time their enemies changed tactics, Iran evolved again. Their Quds force became legendary, training militias, exporting ideology, and destabilizing rivals. Nuclear ambitions made headlines, but Iran's real strength lies in its resilience. You can strike a bunker, but can you stop an idea? The Iranian system is complex. Part democracy, part theocracy, part military-industrial shadow state. Its people are diverse, proud, and politically aware. And most of all, they remember. Every missile fired at them, every embargo, every betrayal. And yet, they're still here. Invading Iran today would require tens of thousands of troops, months of preparation, and untold casualties. And for what? No one wins a war with Iran. Not anymore. Even a limited strike could trigger global chaos and fuel the very extremism it aimed to stop. So instead, the world watches cautiously, nervously, as Iran plays the long game, investing in weapons, building alliances, digging deeper into the mountains. Their message is simple: come if you dare. Iran has become more than a country. It's a fortress, a warning, a reminder that some nations bend, and others learn how not to break.